Louder.
For
For a few words.
You know, welcome to Chaz's formal going away. He was adamant about this. He did not want to have a formal service, and I know why. He didn't want anybody making a big deal. He didn't want anybody traveling from out of town. I feel like over the last year, he's probably spent, in his own way, some time with everybody, whether it was being next to you at a party or talking to you on the phone or hanging out with you, and probably found a way to say goodbye. He loved breakfast, so this is what he wanted, to have everybody together, have breakfast. Anytime he'd come into town, we'd go to breakfast. First thing he'd do, he'd buy breakfast. He was adamant about paying for breakfast today. And not only did he love breakfast, but he loved this crew. He told me many times how much he, appreciated, being with family. So, if he had to pull together a breakfast crew, and he was here, this would be it. This is what he really appreciated doing. He was, give us a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. Because he didn't want to have anything formal, tells you how private of a person he was. He was very private. Takes a long time to get information out of that guy. You're almost your whole life. I know even later in life, I would learn things about him I never knew. So he was private that way, which is strange to me because everywhere I went with him, somebody knew him. So he was private, yet you couldn't go anywhere without somebody knowing him. And it wasn't like somebody would walk past him and say, hey, what's going on, or wave. They would run up to him and say, hey, Chuck, how you doing? Like so excited to see him. Chuck, how you doing? How's the family? How's Linda? How's everybody? Everywhere we went. Could be his parts guy, could be at the locker room, could be walking in the mall. Somebody knew this guy. And I'd walk away, hey Dad, who was that? He goes, I have no freaking idea. But he was like that, and I think everybody would agree. He never once in my life said, you need to respect me, I'm your father, you have to respect me. But he commanded, just through who he was, some type of a respect, He never gave his advice unless you asked for some advice. If you asked for some advice, it would be almost profound in his ability to understand the surroundings and know what he wanted to say to you in that moment. I wouldn't have been an electrical engineer if it wasn't for him. Madeline would have quit college because of how hard it was if she didn't have him to talk to. But I didn't know he talked to her. He was humble. I didn't know he talked to her. I heard from Madeline he talked to her. He didn't come up and say, hey, I talked to Madeline, I talked her off the ledge. He wasn't bragging like that, ever. You would find these things out. So, finding things out. Playing catch with him when I was younger, he would give this, like this, and the ball would come at you 65 miles an hour. Like, what the heck? How do you do that, Then you find out, in Western New York, he was the top men's underhand pitcher. His team was undefeated, and because nobody could hit him. He'd strike everybody out. You wouldn't know it unless you had that experience with him. And I'm sure no one at this table probably knows that. And then you go bowling with him, and you'd see him throwing these strikes. Who knows when the last time he bowled? And then you find out he bowled more 300 games than anybody can count. Just amazingly smart, amazingly talented. Pissed me off. We go swimming at the pool, and he goes on the diving board and doing the perfect jackknife. I go, you can freaking dive too? Played basketball with him. He had a Michael Jordan shot. Literally, it would score on you every time. I said, I didn't even know you played basketball. But he had this move, and he'd pull it on you every time he'd score a basket. So he was amazingly talented. amazing family man in that if you were blood related or linked to the family in any way, he had your back. If you weren't family or weren't linked to the family and you were bleeding on the sidewalk, he'd step over you to go pick up eggs, you know? It's just how he was. It's just how he was. He was awesome. And super funny. We've all heard, we've all laughed, right, at the things he said. Amazingly funny in his own subtle way. One of my favorite recent stories, well, he taught all the kids how to swear. And Melinda had her friend Lexi over, and this over the summer when my dad stayed with us for a few months. And he goes, "Hey, Grandpa, this is my friend Lexi, and Lexi, this is my grandpa. He swears a lot." and without missing a beat, my dad said, "Oh, honey, don't say that shit." but that was him, right? The soft delivery, but super funny. So I will tell you, he loved this. This is what he's gonna miss. So what we need to do is carry the torch. Carry the torch. Never ever break this up. Anywhere we go, we're together. We're gonna plan a trip, we're gonna be together. In his memory, if anything, right? So let's just remember, we don't have any beers to toast, but let's just enjoy each other's company. And I just wanted to say that he loved you all a lot. So thanks.
Thanks, honey.